WMAL, making sense of the news. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:36. It's O'Connor and Company, and in 30 minutes we'll hand it off to Chris Plant, unless, of course, he's caught in horrific D.C. traffic because, you know, y'all actually have to get back to work today if you're a federal worker. Julie, is this affecting your life at all? Do you have anybody in your life that's stuck in horrible traffic because they now have to return to the office?
No, it's not. Thank goodness.
All right, good.
Well, I'm thrilled to say no.
A lot of employees are annoyed. They preferred working at home. I get it. And is this the best way to go about this? The understandably noble goal of President Trump and his team saying, yeah, enough of this. The pandemic's over and everyone should get back to work. Why are we paying for all this empty office space? All right, joining us right now is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky, CEO of the hybrid work consultancy Disaster Avoidance Experts, and also author of the bestseller Returning to the Office and Leading Hybrid and Remote Teams. All right, Doctor, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. And I bet a lot of the people who are stuck in DC traffic are spending more time in traffic because federal officials are heading to the office.
Oh, so 100%. In fact, you're not DC based, are you? But yeah, it's been a major story this morning that there's certain areas, especially down at the Navy Yard, Southeast DC, and other areas that are absolutely jammed today because, well, we're learning that there were thousands of people who were all working from home. So, in general, is this a phenomenon of just the federal workers and employees here in Washington, D.C., or has there been a larger trend across multiple industries that people have been working more from home ever since the pandemic?
So it's a nuanced question because what we're seeing is that larger companies like Amazon, as well as large organizations like the federal government, are asking people to come to the office more, whereas smaller companies are actually keeping more flexibility. Newly established companies are more flexible. It seems to be the case that people who are forced to come into the office are often leaving these large organizations and are joining smaller and more flexible firms, and are also establishing more smaller and more flexible firms. So it seems to be creating more jobs and more entrepreneurship by people who are leaving these hidebound, straitjacketed organizations.
And of course, the argument is we need efficiency, we're wasting money, so we need people to come back to work. But you made the case in a Washington Examiner op-ed that it's actually the opposite. It may sound good, it may make for good headlines and political sort of sound bites, but in fact, this is undermining efficiency, and it actually may end up costing the federal government more. How so?
I'll give you an example. So the Social Security Administration reported a 6% boost in productivity in 2024 due to the higher rates of telework. So it said that the people working at home were more efficient. They spent more time working because they didn't have to go through the traffic and the commuting, which took away the amount of time that they would have worked more. Moreover, it also cost the government money. So General Services Administration, which is the administration in the government responsible for all its buildings, estimates that optimizing office space for telework could save more than $1 billion annually in rent and maintenance costs for us as taxpayers. And we have another report that looked at a November 2024 report from the Government Accountability Office. These are all nonpartisan, non-biased organizations. They evaluated federal telework programs and found that they expanded talent pools and reduced turnover. And of course, if you look at turnover, in order to replace an federal official, it usually takes about 6 months of pay. So when somebody leaves, so you're reducing their turnover, you're reducing the kind of additional pay that we as taxpayers have to suffer because of turnover. So those are just some examples of improved productivity, improved costs. Of course, there's externalities for the rest of us. We don't have to suffer for traffic, and we can talk about that. But there's also benefits in terms of retaining folks.
Doctor, you make a really good point about the efficiency, and look, that's what DOGE is supposed to be doing. Do you think to some degree, not to be totally cynical here, but do you think to some degree they are trying to, I don't know, encourage those are they trying to encourage people to leave federal service? In other words, they're giving them these big payouts. They're trying to sort of separate those people who really are going to put in the hours and those that maybe have taken advantage of the work from home benefits. I feel like I don't understand how they can, when they're there to save the taxpayer money, pursue something that is going to cost the taxpayer more. So what do you think of that theory, that it is to try to get some people just to leave federal service?
Well, they pretty explicitly said this in a Wall Street Journal op-ed a few months ago. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who was still a part of the Doge back then, wrote an op-ed saying that they want to get people to the office in order to get them to quit.
Yeah.
But look at what kind of people quit. So there was a study conducted by Mark Ma at the University of Pittsburgh looking at Biden's return to office mandate, which was getting to a 60% attendance in office. So 3 days in the office, 2 days working from home, whereas previously federal agencies set their own standards. And what the groundbreaking study showed is that there was a 26% spike in turnover by senior employees who are ranked as directors, supervisors, and higher, those with more institutional knowledge and leadership experience and skills. Yeah. So you have the best, most capable people leaving, people who have the most ability to find jobs outside the federal government, and the people who we have left and who we will have left after they're forced to return to the office are the ones who are least capable of finding jobs outside the federal government. We do not have the best people left in the federal government after the people are going to leave. So that's another big problem of who is going to be left.
In terms of efficiency, Doctor, I have a hunch here. Is it harder or takes more effort to supervise people who are working from home? In other words, I think this is maybe a phenomenon of middle and upper management where it takes more effort. It's easy to just walk by somebody's office and check in on what they're doing or oversee their cubicle or whatever it is or have meetings. But it actually takes extra effort for the boss to be proactive and engaged with the employee. And so because of that, they've sort of neglected their duties. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but that's not what we're seeing from officials like the Social Security Administration, Department of Homeland Security, IRS. All of those organizations are clearly reporting that they're getting higher productivity, higher employee engagement, higher satisfaction from both supervisors and employees, better retention, better recruitment. When we look at the actual neutral, nonpartisan civil service administrators, officials, managers, they are happy with flexible work because they know that it improves their productivity, improves their retention, and it causes them to spend less money on real estate. It's beneficial all around from the management perspective. Now, Elon Musk is well known as someone who is an opponent of remote work, but partially because he works in manufacturing. So he might not know the benefits to people who are in white-collar positions. And we have a lot of benefits from people in white-collar positions, and the civil service, nonpartisan administrators who've been in the government for many decades are reporting that it's better.
Well, I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but it's certainly an opinion and a perspective on this issue that you don't hear much about and much from, given the popularity of the headlines, get back to work, get back to work. So I appreciate you, Doctor, sort of sharing it with us, and the debate will continue, I think. Thank you.